Brazil has entered a historic moment as its former far-right president, Jair Bolsonaro, has been sentenced to more than 27 years in prison for plotting a military coup and attempting to dismantle the country's democracy. The ruling, delivered by Brazil's Supreme Court, marks the most serious punishment ever handed to a former president in the country.
Não para de dar tiro de borracha!
Two judges, Carmen Lucia Antunes Rocha and Cristiano Zanin, ruled that Bolsonaro was guilty of conspiring to remain in power after losing the 2022 election. Their verdict means that 4 out of 5 judges presiding over the case found Bolsonaro guilty. Justice Alexandre de Moraes announced the sentence, stating that Bolsonaro had tried to annihilate the essential pillars of the democratic rule of law state, and warning that his actions could have dragged Brazil back into dictatorship. Justice Rocha, whose vote sealed Bolsonaro's fate, denounced the former president's attempts to sow the malignant seed of anti-democracy. She celebrated the resilience of Brazil's democratic institutions, but cautioned about the dangers of the virus of authoritarianism spreading through the country. The investigation revealed that Bolsonaro led what Justice Moraes described as a criminal organization that operated between July 2021 and January 2022-2023. This conspiracy culminated in the infamous January 8th riots, when Bolsonaro supporters stormed the presidential palace, Congress, and the Supreme Court, hoping to overturn the election of left-wing President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. One judge, Luis Fux, broke from the majority and argued that there was no proof that Bolsonaro directly orchestrated the coup or assassination plots against Lula and Moraes. While he condemned the 8th of January riots as barbaric and on a scale of Amazonian destruction, Fux controversially questioned the Supreme Court's jurisdiction in the case. Despite this, he did vote to convict 2 of Bolsonaro's allies, former Defense Minister General Walter Braga Neto and former aide-de-camp Lieutenant Colonel Mauro Cid, who were found guilty of helping plan a violent attempt to destabilize democracy. Alongside Bolsonaro, several of his closest allies were also convicted. These include Generals Paulo Sergio Nogueira de Oliveira and Augusto Heleno, Admiral Almir Garnier Santos, former spy chief Alexandre Ramagem, and former Justice Minister Anderson Torres. For many in Brazil, this sweeping verdict sent a powerful message that coups and conspiracies against democracy will not go unpunished. The conviction was met with celebrations outside the Supreme Court. Supporters of President Lula's Workers' Party rejoiced as trumpeter Fabiano Leitão played Chopin's Funeral March to symbolize Bolsonaro's political downfall. "Justice is done, comrades," he declared before shifting into a joyful samba, marking the day as a turning point in Brazil's fight against extremism. Yet, not everyone accepted the ruling quietly. Bolsonaro's son, Senator Flávio Bolsonaro, denounced the conviction as political persecution. Internationally, US President Donald Trump described the ruling as very surprising, comparing it to his own legal troubles. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio went further, calling the trial unjust and threatening consequences for Brazil. A statement quickly rejected by Brazil's foreign ministry, which emphasized that threats will not intimidate our democracy. Meanwhile, Bolsonaro remains under house arrest at his Brasilia mansion, guarded by police to prevent any escape attempt. His absence from court only fueled speculation about his political future. Despite the heavy sentence, analysts caution against declaring his political movement dead. Political scientist Dr. Camila Rocha explained that Bolsonaro's supporters are likely to continue fighting for his release, whether by pushing for an amnesty, mobilizing international allies like Donald Trump, or hoping for a right-wing president in 2026 who could grant him a pardon. Still, experts warn that granting amnesty would be disastrous for Brazil's democratic institutions. For now, Brazil stands at a crossroads. While Bolsonaro's conviction represents a decisive victory for democracy, his movement remains alive, and the battle over the country's political future is far from over.